Okay?
Shocking.
Holy cow!
Who knew?
Who knew? But I guess the point is, Alan said it best. The rules are pretty clear. I mean, they spell them out for you. And and if you decide that you're going to be that guy or gal that wants to swim upstream when everybody else is not doing it, then it's going to come for you. Granted, I think the prosecution probably was stupid, but he opened the door. He basically he came too close to the line, and whether you're if you're a mile from the line or whether you're inches from the line is a matter of perspective. But boy, when you're an inch, it looks like you might have crossed it, and I think that's what happened here.
Carl Tubman.
Two things. Number one, a lot of this started. I hate to say this, but a lot of this started with his wife.
Who has also been indicted actually, she was convicted.
She's facing a year and a day.
Yeah.
He's facing 2 years.
Her case will come up, I think, to the Supreme Court at some point. But, that was part of it. And it was, I guess the marriage was not happy at the time. And I think some of the things he did, he wasn't thinking. It was, my God, I got to keep her happy, etc. The other thing is that I did a lot. I've done.
Damn women.
I was thinking the same thing.
Back in the good old days, wouldn't have been a problem.
All right, so I just want to know. So when we have the first female president, are we going to be like, oh, I got to keep him happy? What committee do I put him on? Are we going to get any sympathy when that happens?
Bob Hines.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, sorry, Carl. Keep going.
The other thing is that I've done a lot of fundraising over the years, and people will come to me and say, well, what am I going to get for it? And I said, the biggest thing you can hope for, you can give all the money you want, but that hopefully will keep the door ajar so that you might be able to get in to see the person and talk to him. But I made no bones about the fact that there is no real quid pro quo.
And Donald Trump is not helping public education on this subject, because he basically says, why did I used to give money to everybody, Republicans, Democrats? Because I wanted stuff, and that's how the system works. You give them money, then you get what you want. It just is not like that.
Bob Hines, you've been at this in both Congress and in the White House. So what were some of the kind of things that you saw?
Well, the best lobbyists are people who, before they need your help, they begin to develop relationships, right, so that there is a basis of friendship, recognition of integrity, the kind of a person I want to deal with. Bottom line, I ran the NBC office for 25 years, and we had problems all over the place because the network is one of the, they're always in trouble for one reason or another. And I made it sure, I used to tell my top executives that I wanted them, on a certain day and a certain place, I wanted to have them come down to Washington and spend a week. They said, I can't spend a week out of my job. Yes, you can, goddammit. You can take a 3-week vacation 2 months from now. You can spend a week with me, and I'm going to take you to the subcommittees on the House and Senate that you need to be able to be recognized in when you have a problem. Because I want to be able to bring somebody in who the people in the office have said, oh yes, Sam, it's nice to see you again. Thanks for stopping by a month ago. What's the problem? The idea that lobbyists just throw money around is not true, although it's in a lot of ways, but it's not true.
So you never brought a Ferrari to the Hill?
No. But the best way to lobby, in my mind, is to what I call pre-lobbying.
Right.
When you know you've got something coming down the road, you better be out in front of it so you don't have a crash. And I spent an awful lot of my time making sure I knew the staffers on the offices I needed, and I made sure that at least 2 or 3 times a year people when there was no problem, to have my people come in and just talk about what's going on and what we're thinking about doing and how we're thinking about doing. Is that okay with you? And I found it much better than rushing into the last minute and trying to get, please do this for me. My theory was get it done early, get a relationship going, and then smooth it through. No problem.
And that's how politics is done. But I'm going to let that be the last word on the topic, and also let that be the last word on the Supreme Court, since we are going to run long for our favorite portion of the show. Tell me a story. Bob Hines.
I've just gotten back from 2 weeks in the Midwest.
God's country.
I recommend it to everybody. It's wonderful out there. There's real people, normal people, no airs, just good, solid middle Americans. It's wonderful. Gail and I spent 15, 16 days out there. Had a wonderful time, enjoying ourselves, doing what we wanted to do, seeing things we wanted to see, and just talking to people. The Midwest is basically a magnificent place for anybody who's in politics to spend some time out there just understanding how real Americans who are very good citizens and love America and love what's going on, no matter what party they're in, and they're just awfully good people, and they ought to know more about what those folks are thinking than they do today.
Here, here. One of my favorite places in the country is Toledo, Ohio. Carl Tubin.
I pass.
Unheard of. Denise Krebs.
So, Sunday at 2 o'clock in the morning, my neighborhood was shot up. It was still trying to figure out what happened, but 2 o'clock in the morning, one person injured, 4 cars damaged, and 1 bullet almost lodged into a baby's car seat. Because we have a problem with crime in the United States. And I realize I'm swimming upstream in this battle. But it's my position, at least here in Washington, D.C., and in some other places, that criminals are not being prosecuted. Violent criminals. I'm not talking about your drugs, I'm talking about your violent criminals. And I encourage you to start asking questions. I know we are. In fact, in Washington, D.C., we're going to be meeting with the Chief of Police tomorrow in the Department of Justice and the D.C. Attorney General's office and asking a lot of questions about prosecutions. Because we have individuals in our neighborhoods right now that are committing violent acts, they're committing armed robberies, they're committing armed carjackings, they're murdering people without being prosecuted. So what we're going to be doing here in Washington, D.C. is demanding accountability, and I encourage other folks in the United States to do the same.
Alan Moore.
So the Congress is on the verge of going out of session, both houses, for a significant period of time for the 2 conventions and for the traditional August recess. If they fail to pass funding to combat the Zika virus, and it's on thin ice right now, shame on them all. There was a deal cut. It took a long time to get this deal, and now, and then the details don't even matter, frankly. There was a deal that looked like it was cut. It involved a bipartisan group, both houses of Congress. And then some late inning little switches occurred for reasons that don't matter. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is that they damn well better get the $1.1 billion that they're talking about, that augments several hundred million that they borrowed from the Ebola fund. And if they fail to do that, people's lives will be affected. There will be babies born with anomalies that would not have had to have happened. And there will be longer-term effects on some number of people. We don't know who those people are. That's the thing about fighting one of these diseases. If it fails, shame on the Republicans and shame on the Democrats.
Admiral Kennedy.
So if you've been listening to this show for a while, you know that I'm a Naval Academy grad, and like most college grads, I'm very, very proud of my alma mater. We've produced presidents, senators, congressmen, a few professional football players. And this past weekend, we added one more accolade to our ranks. Bill Hurley, congratulations on winning your first PGA Tour. I would love to see you on the senior tour someday, but that's probably not going to happen. Ask Alan; he's golfed with me. But congratulations, and Air Force and West Point, we're waiting for you.
And myself. So yesterday we lost a huge sports hero in all of basketball. If you know the names Dean Smith and Mike Krzyzewski, and those are the only people you think of when you think of great collegiate coaches, you're leaving somebody off who's actually the winningest Division I basketball coach ever. And her name is Pat Summitt. She's won 8 national championships, 16 SEC championships, and been involved in 16 SEC tournaments. And she also has more victories for the Lady Vols, Volunteers of Tennessee, than any other basketball coach in collegiate Division I history. It's worth noting that this isn't necessarily, while it's sad to see her go, it's not necessarily a negative thing to remember her, because it's noting that women's sports has come a long way, and respecting her in all sorts of ways. And I'm looking at a black screen here, Admiral Ken. So I'm hoping the mic is still hot.
It is.
So that said, that going back to some legislation that was passed a while ago, it was Title IX that said it was going to be make women's sports be equal to men's sports, not just in college, but in high school as well, within all academic fields. And that's some of the things that government, and that's right, law, can do. And when politics is working at its best, and it was hard fought to get it done, but going down the line, good things can happen. Politics is not necessarily an icky word, and around this table we engage in the conversations, and Bob just gave us a good lesson on how lobbying and the pre-lobbying can work to get things done. And for everyone who's looking at the Donald that he's going to change things and make America great again and make things work, things can work, and we actually have plenty of evidence of it working in the past and sometimes even the present. So that said, let's just pay attention to how things can work and the good things that happen. But on behalf of Bob Hines, Carl Tubin, Denise Krepp, Alan Moore, Admiral Ken Carradine, and myself, Dan Lipner, we're here at Shelley's Back Room every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Bob?
The place to be.
We'll see you here again next week, folks.